Today on 10 Minute IT Jams, we're joined by Peter Eldon, who's the Sales and Marketing Director at Access4. Access4 is a specialist in the unified communications sector. And Peter joins us today to discuss how UCaaS can play a vital role in business development in today's market. Thanks for joining us today, Peter, and welcome to the Jam.
Brilliant. Thanks for having me.
No worries. So what role do you see UCaaS having in hybrid work?
Certainly. So UCaaS, Unified Communications as a Service, I think it's absolutely critical in new work, right? We went through an awful lot over the last couple of years, and employees were fantastic in supporting businesses by having people working three to a desk in homes. And as I'm working from home today, the flexibility of UCaaS allows us to do that. So moving forward, our employees are really wanting to embrace the benefits of hybrid work. And what UCaaS allows us to do is it allows employers to ensure that there's a balance between the flexibility that we're giving employees to make sure that they're not stuck in traffic, 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. But that's balanced off around understanding that their customers, the employer's customers, are being serviced and they're getting a great experience, and that staff are engaged and working and providing the services they need. So UC is really that bridge between what employees want, flexibility, and what employers want, which is around that collaboration, involvement, and customer experience. And UC provides that.
Absolutely. And we're obviously living through quite unstable times at the moment in terms of the way we're working and doing things. How can UCaaS help businesses navigate these kind of times?
Yeah, you're right. It's the only thing I think we can be certain about is more uncertainty. There's a lot going on. What UCaaS does and Unified Communication does, it gives you that flexibility of no matter what's over the hill, whatever we get next. In Australia right now, we've got power outages and power shortages. So whoever had that on a bingo card, congratulations, you've got another line. What UC does is it allows us to be untethered from the office, allows us to work anywhere, anytime. And so no matter what comes over the hill, be it viral, be it a malware attack, be it outages or natural disasters, businesses can tack quickly, move, and keep those customer services, keep the invoices flowing, keep those inquiries being answered. And at the same level of engagement and accountability and accessibility as if they're all sat in an office. So it really gives businesses that flexibility and the nimbleness to be able to pivot to whatever the event and keep the doors open, keep the phone lines being answered and invoices going out.
Fantastic. Yeah, great way to do it. And there's lots of talk about business resilience on the data side of businesses. Do you think enough attention's being given to voice redundancy?
Really good question. So no, I don't think it is. And we talk about business resilience, and that really comes back to those last two questions, right? Which is, what does work look like moving forward? Do I have the flexibility to provide services in this new change? What does 2022 and 23 bring us in these unprecedented times? And a lot of focus is around data resilience. So if I have a malware attack, can I get my data? What happens if you go to a hosted phone system and your phone system is hacked? What happens if they start pointing your numbers at unsavory destinations until you pay them money or until you get that changed? What happens if a provider's hacked or there's a major event in that city and they lose that phone system? So, for end businesses, if a partner is talking to you about business resilience and they're not talking to you about voice resilience in that, I'd say that they're only talking to you about half the problem. And I think if we talk about small and medium business, if I give them the options of two cables and one of them had their voice lines and the other one had their data, they'd probably cut their data before their voice, to be honest. Voice is absolutely imperative. So it's really important that when businesses are talking about business resilience, they're looking at both sides of that, voice and data. And then flip side, I would say to partners, so managed service providers out there and security providers is if you're not talking about voice resilience and voice continuity, and if you don't have an answer to that, then you're leaving some revenue on the table there. There is opportunities to talk about having a full resilience solution and doing that without necessarily having to become experts in voice, but by partnering with experts means you can deliver that full resilience play.
For sure. It seems like communication is the key here. What are the top 3 trends in UCaaS for the next quarter?
Yeah, another good question. So a lot of what we just talked about right now. So hybrid work is absolutely number one. And if you think about hybrid work, it's like, well, 15% of my staff are going to be working from home, partly 50% of staff are going to be working in the office. It's not the same 50%, right? They swap over. So effectively, you've got to deal with 100% of your staff working someone else from an office at some point in that week. And so how businesses are grappling with that is very much front of mind with a lot of businesses. Secondly is around that resilience, that voice resilience. As I said, we've gone through power issues and floods and fires and the various horsemen of the apocalypse right now. How do I build resilience into my communication stack and make sure that that's being provided? And then the third one, which is really interesting, is around enterprise grade communication tools being made available to small and medium business. And what I mean there is things like call center software that would normally only be for the big end of town and would have a significant install and support cost around that, is now being delivered in a SaaS model. So it's been delivered by, say, for ourselves, so we can deliver call center software and analytics. So, imagine you've got a hybrid work environment. You've now got a small accounts receivable team, and you want to know if calls are being answered. You want to know who's on a break at a time. You want to be able to supervise that. Normally, you'd stick your head up in an office and go for that up and allow that. Now you need to do that in a hybrid environment. So providing that enterprise grade comms tools to small and medium business in a easy to consume per user per month environment means that we're really democratizing these services. We're taking these, what the big end of town only had in massive call centers, and we can deliver that very easily and deliver some real benefits to smaller business that gives them that flexibility. And if you think about the flexibility of hybrid work, what that also does is it expands our net for talent. And if I give you a fourth around trends, always over deliver, the fourth would be around the war on talent, or the war for talent. So there's a significant shortage of candidates within the Australian market for hiring. And so, these tools and you see what it also does, it widens your net to allow to take the best person for a role, not necessarily the best person for a role who lives within 30 kilometers of the office, because they've got to come in 5 days a week.
Absolutely. And in terms of who companies should be speaking to for successful UCaaS deployments, who should they be looking for?
Yeah, so I would say they're probably already talking to these guys already. And by that, I mean managed service providers and communication service providers. So particularly in Australia and New Zealand, we have this brilliant group of individuals who have been servicing small and medium business and enterprise business as well around IT services, managed service support, PABX systems and communication solutions. These guys are perfectly positioned when they're partnering with the right vendor to be their trusted advisor, the end user's trusted advisor around UC. The last person I'd say to talk to is your crusty old telco, right? They're inherently invested in old technology, and they're very comfortable in old technology. Your trusted advisors, so the guys who are your managed service providers and your trusted voice provider previously, they're the guys who are embracing this technology. Already, if you're doing Teams, probably already sell you the 365 license that has the Teams in there, have those experience. And those guys are partnering with people like ourselves. So they're not necessarily becoming experts in voice, but they're working with a partner who is. And where it works great for us is those guys are the expert and the customer. And that's a really good combination. You've got someone who's an advocate and an expert on the end customer. Then they partner with someone like us who's an expert in the UC. That delivers really nice outcomes to that end customer.
Yeah, sounds like a great system. And in terms of Access4, how do partners and potential customers get a hold of you guys?
Yeah, so please hit us up on our website, so access4.com, have a jump on and you'll be able to see plenty of information about what we do and how we can help. By all means, hit myself up on LinkedIn, so Peter Eldon, E-L-D-O-N on LinkedIn. Would love to connect with you that way. Or my email address is peter.eldon, E-L-D-O-N, at access4.com.au.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for joining us today, Peter, and we look forward to hearing more from Access4 in the future.
Brilliant. Absolutely my pleasure. Thank you.